So the next one is hands and knee sit back, or for those of you that are known to yoga, it's child's pose. This is a really good exercise or stretch, should I say, for everybody, no matter where your cording is along, if it's just up into your axilla, or if it is extending to wherever along the length of the arm. This one I love. This is a really good stretch to do. So with this one, what you want to do is you want to sit back on your heels. You want your knees to be hip width apart approximately, and you want your feet to be together. And then with this one, essentially what you're doing is you start in a position like so, you sit back, and then you reach as far forward as you can comfortably go. And with this particular one, it's a really lovely movement because you'll feel a stretch in the armpit here and extending up into the upper arm. Again, you just go to where your limit is, and if you can stretch a little bit more, as if you're stretching those fingers a tiny little bit more, and just to add that extra stretch, hold it for a count of 5 and then come back. And then come back up again. So just to repeat, you sit down on your heels, and then you stretch and walk forward as far as you can. Hold that stretch and then release. And that particular exercise is a really lovely one if you are in the process of going for reconstruction and you have tissue expanders, because a lot of the other exercises may prove to be too uncomfortable for you. You wouldn't be able to lie on your side, or you'd find it uncomfortable lying on your back. So this particular exercise or stretch is a lovely one to get that stretch in round the tissue, in round your surgical site, and in round your upper arm with the cording. But it's a more comfortable stretch for you to achieve and to manage. The other thing actually with that, the child's pose stretch, is that sometimes, especially with the tissue expanders, if you find that you're getting thickening of tissue, this child's pose stretch is a lovely stretch to do because it helps to just loosen that area up as well. So it's a really lovely one to do. Obviously, if you do have problems with your knees, you may want to think otherwise, and there's ones that we can show you for that that will achieve the same stretch, but just in a different position. We'll come to that in a bit. Okay, so progression of that one is what we call child's pose, but into window wipers, or hands and knees into window wipers. And really what it's doing again is putting the cord onto a stretch, but then just taking it to a slightly different angle to increase that intensity of the stretch, hopefully to release that tightened tissue and to release the cord. So like we did before, we're sitting back onto our heels. We start off in the initial position where we lean as far forward as we can, and then like window wipers, we are just slowly turning round to one side, reaching as far forward, holding that for a stretch or for a count of up to 5 seconds, and then just slowly come back towards the centre. So you may want to take this in stages, 5-second hold, and just slowly working yourself back to that 12 o'clock position again. Holding it for 5, then release. Then reach round a little bit more, say to 1, 2 o'clock on a clock dial. Hold it for a count of 5. Release. You may want to go round a little bit more. Hold it for a count of 5. and release. Walking it back, stretching into that, holding it, releasing it, and then back to 12 o'clock, holding that stretch and release. Most people find that that's a really lovely stretch to do, and a comfortable one at that. What you may find is if you want, you can just work, you're working away from your operated side. So if, for example, my right side is the operated side, as I move my window wipers to the left, that puts more of a stretch on my right side. But equally, I think, to be honest, it's as easy just working one side to the other. So you start at 12 o'clock position or straight on, go to one side, work your way back, go to the other, work your way back. Remember, it's up to a 5-second hold with that stretch, trying to stretch your fingers as far forward as you can so you're feeling that stretch without it being a sharp pain, and then releasing. And you want to repeat the sequence, and it's entirely up to you. I mean, obviously, like most of the other stretches, we've set up to 10 times. You do as many as you feel is achievable and comfortable for you to do. We don't want to aggravate pain, so work within your limitations, because like everything with these, the more you work on it, the more hopefully the movement will improve. You'll feel it easier and you'll be able to sort of work a little bit harder each time. Just as an additional note with the window wiper movement, what I would say, if you have had a hip replacement, please avoid this movement because it puts too much pressure on your hip. Okay.